Hey folks, welcome to Maverick Gunworks. Today I'm going to talk about a little bitty 22 handgun that could be a pocket pistol, I guess. PT22 from Taurus. Made in the USA. According to the engraving on it here, it comes from Miami, Florida. Alrighty. This basically is just a very small double action only 22 semi-automatic. And that being the case, double action only, you got to pull the trigger very long ways, and you're cocking the hammer every time that you fire the gun. So it's going to be a long, kind of heavy trigger pull, and we'll look at that here in just a second. Anyway, a couple of features about this gun. I'm going to show you that the easiest way to load this is to open the barrel. So you push your barrel disconnect lever here, your barrel pops up. You load your first round into the chamber and close the barrel. Alright, move the latch over a little bit. This is a brand new gun. It gets right stiff. There's nothing smoothed out or polished on it at all. Alright, so that it's a little bit of a challenge to operate some of the controls on it, honestly. But anyway, load your first cartridge into the chamber like that, and then you don't have to pull the slide back, because honestly it's the best way to do it that way. It's very difficult to pull the slide back otherwise. But if you've got your magazine, 10-round magazine, load your magazine, slide it up in here, and with your one already in the chamber, you're ready to pull the trigger and make the gun fire. Alright, that being the case, we'll look at also our safety. We have a manual safety on the side of the frame here. So you flip the safety up, and now you can see that the trigger will be disabled, so the gun will not fire. Push the trigger, push the safety down, and let's do a trigger pull test just for the heck of it. And that's going to be not real friendly, I don't think, as far as trigger pull goes. But let's see what we have here. And it bottoms out the gauge. It's 12 pounds plus is all I can tell you. But, and we have a blue dummy round in here, so we're not going to hurt anything as far as dry firing goes. But just to squeeze the trigger here, if you see, you can see there we're cocking the hammer every time you fire the gun. So you've got a very long, heavy trigger pull to be able to cock it. And that being the case, you got to mean to pull this trigger. It's going to be safe right to start with, without even having a manual safety as far as that goes. I will tell you another feature of this gun. We have a magazine disconnect. If the magazine is not in it, the gun will not function, right? Will not fire. Okay. And other than that, even if the magazine is in it, you have on the back of the grip here a little bitty keyhole right there. There's a key that comes with this. It's a security hex type key that comes with the Taurus lockout device. Quarter turn locks it out, so even with the magazine out of it, the gun would not function. Okay, so if you had a situation where you wanted to store the gun where you may have kids around or unauthorized adults, as far as that goes, you'd be able to lock out the gun and not worry about somebody firing it. Alright, so anyway, with that being the case, let's take a quick look at how to disassemble the gun for field stripping cleaning. It works out really easy. Again, we're going to use our barrel latch, push that forward to pop a barrel up, get your dummy round out of it in this case. And to remove the slide, we're going to pull the slide back slightly, and keep in mind you've got the tension from the hammer forcing against the slide. In this case also, comes back just a little bit, pull the front of the slide up and then forward. And as you pull it forward, you can feel the trigger release a little bit, because you're actually pulling, you're pushing the, relieving the pressure actually on the hammer when you take the slide off, so that you feel the trigger release slightly forward when you take the slide off of it. But that's all there is to it. And that's as far as I would recommend anybody going, other than taking it to a gunsmith shop, because if you take the grip off this thing and go any further, you could very well get yourself in some trouble. All right, there's a couple of things that may not fit exactly like they should when you try to put the grip back on it. Because there are some things that will come dislocated when you take the grip off this gun. All right. We've got our little slide off, and see, very simple. Okay. And as we would do with any semi-auto, we're going to clean the tracks, clean the face of the bolt, and make sure we have all the carbon built up off there. A little bit of light lubrication on it, and we'll put it back together. Okay. And then as far as the barrel goes, we're going to do the same thing with the barrel. I want to make sure that I have the track, or instead of track, the recess, the pocket where the cartridge sits, right in here. You want to make sure you have the chamber clean really good, because any crud that builds up around the chamber recess, you would not be able to get your cartridge to sit down properly. And if that's the case, you're going to cause a malfunction. You may even have a problem with the barrel closing in that case if you get too much dirt, crud in the recess where the chamber is. All right. And we're going to do our typical, swab it out with some solvent, let it set a few minutes, come back with a clean dry patch and some light lubrication on it. And with that being the case also, just a dab of light lubrication on this little knot right here. On the slide on this gun don't move a whole lot anyway because it's such a small cartridge, but you got a little bitty notch or not, we'll say it's a nodule almost right here on the back edge of the frame. That is where the slide tracks. Okay. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot else to it as far as cleaning goes. Okay. But you will need to keep your barrel clean, your chamber clean, and also the face of the bolt, because 22 ammo is notoriously going to be dirty. All right. So when we put the slide back on it, I want to pay attention to the track that's cut into the slide, because it has to fit on the on your track here that's on the frame. Right. So you put that rear of the slide up first. It's really simple to slide it right down on top of the track. You will have to push a little bit of pressure on it because you're pushing in, you're pushing against the hammer. All right, so we're going to push a little bit on it and force it back just enough that it goes down into the front of the frame. Snaps in place, that's all there is to it. And now we can put our barrel back down, snap the lock in place, and now it goes ready to function again. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to tell you, pull this, well, again, I had the magazine in it. And just if you've not seen this before, or seen my videos before, if you watch very much with me dealing with semi-automatics, I am not a fan of the magazine disconnect. It's just way too much overkill to me, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, with the magazine in it now, I can pull the slide back. And it takes some effort to pull the slide back, because again, you're pulling the resistance of the hammer spring. And this being a 22 rimfire also, there's a pretty stiff spring to start with, so you get a good strike enough to light the cartridge. Okay. And if you make it lighter, I know that there's situations where somebody comes and wants to try to make the trigger pull lighter on something like this. Really not much you can do with it, honestly, and not keep the gun consistent. Because if you lighten the trigger pull, you'll end up with a lighter strike from your hammer, and it probably will not be not fired consistently. All right, so basically, it is what it is. It's a neat little pocket gun to have better than nothing in your pocket, I guess, as far as the firearm goes, and very safe because it's a very long trigger pull. You've got multiple safeties. Other than that, okay, I'm not a big fan of this. So anyway, it's for the price range of it to have a firearm, and it wouldn't necessarily be for self-defense anyway. If you used maybe some CCI 22 Stinger, or something that's at least 1,400 feet per second, 1,600 feet per second, fragmenting ammo with 22 long rifle, it could be somewhat effective, depending on what your intention is when you pull the trigger. But anyhow, it's not really something you want to go out and try to take down small game. You probably spend a lot of time pulling the trigger without taking the quarry. Anyway, but it's a cool little gun. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and hope that helps you understand a little bit more about the Taurus PT22.